My dear students and viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome once again to my online class. I am Murrshida Imam, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Govt Shahid, Suhrawardy College, Dhaka. My dear students, today I will continue a class for the students of Honours First Year, Department of English. My dear students, how are you? Hope you are fine and are connected with our online classes. My dear students, you know, in our previous class, we started reading the essay of studies by Francis Bacon, and we have read first 16 lines of the essay. That is, the last sentence which we completed in our previous class was like that. That is, crafty men contemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. For they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them and above them owned by observation. That was the last sentence of our previous class that we explained. Now we will start from the line, read not to contradict and confute, nor to believe and take for granted, nor to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. So my dear students, get ready with your textbook and start reading with me. Here we see, that is, read not to contradict and confute, nor to believe and take for granted, nor to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. In this line we see that Bacon's advice is practical, pragmatic and utilitarian, and we also find that he is didactic and practical moralist from this line. That is, he is saying here, why should we read, that is, what to read and how to read. Read not to contradict. You know, contradict means what, my dear students? Do you know? Yes, contradict means oppose. Okay, so Bacon here says that you should not read to oppose, okay, to contradict, and confute means prove false. Okay, so actually Bacon is saying here that you should not read to only to oppose and prove false, nor to believe and take for granted. Okay, nor to believe and take for granted, that means one should not unthinkingly accept as true everything that one finds in a book. Okay, and nor to find talk and discourse, that means nor are books to be read merely to find material in them for conversation and debate. Okay, discourse means discussion. Okay, so one should not read books merely to find material in them for conversation and debate. But then why should we read? Yes, but to weigh and consider. But to weigh and consider, that means the contents of a book should be read and carefully examined and thoughtfully judged. Okay, so here we see that Bacon is teaching us that the purpose of studies is not to contradict or defeat the opponent in controversy. Okay, and he also says that is, a man should not approach a book with a view to criticizing and contradicting its arguments, nor should one read books to believe whatever he finds there, nor yet should he read them in order to obtain material for conversation. This would be a misuse of books. Rather, a man should read books to consider what he reads and what they say. He should read them so that he can judge the view of what they contain. This process will result in maturity of judgment and of sound thinking, and this is the right way and purpose for the study of books. Okay, that's all about the sentence. So we have learned that to judge and any idea or opinion critically and wisely is the main purpose of learning. and this sentence is very important for explanation. Mark this line, and we are going to read the next line, and the next line is also very important for explanation. Mark those lines also. Okay, some books are to be tested, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. That is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be read wholly and with diligence and attention. My dear students, in a proverbial sentence, Bacon here advises that all books should not be read seriously from beginning to the end. Here his didacticism is clearly expressed, and this sentence is like a wise saying or maxim. Okay, so here we find also aphoristic style. Okay, aphorism. Some books are to be tested. That means read in parts, sampled. Okay, and others to be swallowed. Swallowed means what, my dear student? Yes, swallowed means here, that is to be swallowed. That means to read hastily and not with great care. Okay, so some books are read hastily and not with great care, and some few to be chewed and digested. To be chewed and digested, that means read carefully and the material in it taken in fully by one's mind. That means to read thoroughly and assimilated. So we see that Bacon here says that some books are to be tested. That is, some books are read in parts, and some books are to be read in parts only. Others are to be read through hastily. Only a few are to be read carefully and assimilated. So we see that Bacon is very much utilitarian here. That is, the gist here means to say that all books are not equally important to read. So one should not try to study all books with rapt attention. Every book does not deserve to go through with equal attention and industry. Bacon would like to say that some books are to be read in parts only, some books are to be read quickly and hastily. There are only a small number of books that deserve to read thoroughly and closely, and such type of books are to be fully assimilated. And so we see that Bacon's use of familiar terms related to eating and approach to the books is praiseworthy. Okay, and here he explains that is some books are to be read only in parts. That means some books are to be tested. Okay, and others to be swallowed. That means others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be chewed and digested. That is, some few to be read wholly and with diligence and attention. He explains the first, that is this is a threefold sentence. Okay, tested, swallowed, and chewed and digested. So this threefold sentence is explained in the next line. That is some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be read wholly and with diligence and attention. Okay, my dear students, that's all about this sentence. Now go to the next sentence. Some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others, but that would be only in the less important arguments and the meaner sort of books. Else distilled books are like common distilled waters, flashy things. Mark this line, my dear students. Distilled books are like common distilled waters, flashy things. Here we find the use of simile. Okay, here distilled books are compared with common distilled waters, flashy things. And now I will try to explain the line for you. That is, some books also may be read by deputy. Okay, what do you mean by deputy? By deputy, that is through somebody else. Okay, and extracts means summaries or synopsis. Okay, so here we see that Bacon is saying that in case of some books, one can ask other men who give the summary. Okay, that is some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others. That is, in case of some books, one can ask other men who give the summary. Okay, and but that would be only in the less important arguments and the meaner sort of books. That is, but this method should be adopted only in the case of books which are not of great importance, as one cannot get pleasure out of the summaries of good books. Okay, that is the types of books. Here we find Bacon focuses on different types of books in a utilitarian way. Okay, so we see that some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others. That means, but that would be only in the less important arguments and the meaner sort of books. That is, I am repeating, explaining the sentence once again. That is, in the case of some books, one can ask other men who give the summary, but this method should be adopted only in the case of books which are not of great importance, as one cannot get pleasure out of the summaries of good books. Okay, and else distilled books are like common distilled waters, flashy things. Okay, here we see the distilled books. That means books of which summaries have been made. The important matter has been distilled or extracted to form the synopsis. These books are called distilled books. And flashy means insipid, tasteless, and hence giving no pleasure. So like those distilled books are compared with what, like common distilled water. That is, Bacon compares summaries of books to distilled water. Just as distilled water is tasteless and gives no pleasure, so also summaries are insipid and one does not enjoy reading them. The essence of the book is lost. Okay, that's all about the sentence. And go to the next sentence. The next sentence is very important for explanation, and this sentence, after reading the sentence, you can guess that this sentence is read like maxim. Okay, proverb, looks like proverb, read like proverb. Reading make the fool man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Mark this line, my dear students, and give 3 stars here. Okay, reading make the fool man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. You have to learn this sentence by heart. Okay, and you have to quote this sentence while writing the question, broad question. Okay, that is and aphoristic style, epigrammatic style, utilitarianism. Then in the question of that is in the question of style, because style. Okay, in this way, this sentence is very important for every quotation. Okay, so you have to learn this sentence by heart. The function of reading here. First, reading make the fool man. What does reading do? Yes, reading makes a fool. Make here means makes. Okay, reading makes a fool man. Here, what do you mean by fool man? Yes, a man with a well-developed mind. Okay, a man with a well-developed mind. So, reading makes a man with a well-developed mind. Then, conference, a ready man. What do you mean by conference? Yes, conference means discussion and conversation. Discussion and conversation. And it makes a man ready man. A ready man. What do you mean by ready man? Yes, quick and alert. And that man is never at a loss for what to say at a particular moment. Okay, is called a ready man. So we see that conversation and discussion in other words, conference makes a man ready man. Okay, makes conference a ready man. That means conference makes a ready man. And then writing, what is the function of writing? Yes, writing an exact man. That is, writing makes an exact man. Okay, and here we see that writing. Here writing means what? That is taking down notes of what one reads. Okay, and exact means precise and correct in every detail. Then this sentence is read like proverb or maxim. Okay, and here Bacon says that reading fills the mind with new ideas and thoughts and develops the whole personality of a man. And conversation makes a man, that is conference or conversation makes a man alert and quick-witted and never at a loss for words. And writing, that means through taking down notes of what he reads, a man becomes systematic and precise in his talking and thinking. That's called exact man. So we see that reading, discussion and writing play a very important role in improving natural power of man. That is, reading improves the natural abilities of a man, and it develops the whole personality of a man. Reading makes a man learned. It develops and improves his natural powers, and it fills the mind with new ideas and thoughts. But learning alone is not sufficient. So here Bacon focuses on conversation, that is conference. A man should also be quick-witted and alert, and he should be able to make a suitable reply on the particular moment, on the spot of the moment. And this ready wit is to be acquired through what, my dear students? Yes, through conversation and discussion. That means through conference. Okay, through conversation and discussion. And on the other hand, writing makes a man acute and precise. He is able to become systematic and precise in his thinking and talking, and he can take down notes of what he reads, and putting down notes helps him memorize and remember. Thus he becomes correct in every detail. So actually the essayist is not satisfied with mere bookish knowledge. Okay, from his opinion we can realize that the wisdom owned by experience is necessary as the wisdom gained out of books. Bacon has given practical suggestions. Okay, so he's called a practical moralist, and that is his practical suggestion is what is is about how to read through the sentence. That is he's very much practical in his advice. So according to Bacon, at first a man should read carefully and then discuss the ideas and finally write them, and in this way his ideas are clarified, and this paves the path of making them direct, accurate and exact. Okay, now my dear students, go to the next sentence. And therefore if a man write little, he had need have a great memory. If he confer little, he had need have a present wit. And if he read little, if he read little, if he read little, he had need have much cunning to seem to know that he doth not. Okay, now we will try to explain the line. And therefore if a man write little, so here my dear students, he had need have a great memory. Had need have, that means here we see a different kind of structure here. That is he had need have, that means he must have. Okay, he had need have, that means he must have. Okay, had need have, that means must have. So if a man write little, okay, then what must he have? Okay, he must have a great memory. Okay, And then if you confer little, then what should he need? That is, he must have what? He have a present with. He must have a present with. And if he read little, then he need have much cunning. That is, he must have much cunning to seem to know that he doth not. Okay. Now, the students, here we see that. So, my dear students, here we see that Bacon is saying that if a man is not in the habit of taking down notes, that is, he is not in the habit of writing much, then it would be necessary for him to have a good memory so that he may remember what he reads for future reference. Okay. And if a man does not participate in conversation or discussion, what will happen? It would be necessary for him to be quick-witted by nature so that he may readily make suitable replies when required. And if a man does not read much, what will happen? He would have to be clever and skillful enough to create an impression of being learned even though he is ignorant. That is, he has to act, okay, like a learned man. So, my dear students, if I want to explain those lines, here we can say that is, if a man is not in the habit of taking down notes, it would be necessary for him to have a good memory, and so that he may remember what he reads for future reference. And if a man does not participate in conversation or discussion, it would be necessary for him to be quick-witted by nature. And if a man does not read much, he would have to be clever and skillful enough. Okay, why? Because he has to create an impression of being learned even though he is ignorant. So, my dear students, that's all for today. We will start reading the last portion of the essay in our next class. So now you have to take homework. Okay, my dear students. At first, explanation. Okay, explain the following lines with context. Okay, that is number 1, explanation number 1. Write down, please. Read not to contradict and confute, nor to believe and take for granted, nor to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Number 1. Okay, explanation number 1. Then go to explanation number 2. Some books are to be tested, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. Then explanation number 3. Reading make the full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Okay, and antithetical sentence. Okay, and I have explained the sentence in the class. Then from our discussion and taking help from your textbook, you will write down the explanation, or you will explain the sentences in your own. Okay, it's your homework. And I want to give you a question. Okay, a short question, that is, write down the question, please. According to Bacon, what should be the aim of reading? According to Bacon, what should be the aim of reading? So, my dear students, your homework, 3 explanations, okay, and a question. And I am repeating the question. According to Bacon, what should be the aim of reading? You must have to write down the answer of those questions. Okay, it's your homework. Hope all of you will do your homework in time. My dear students, and then no more today. In our next class, we will read the last portion of the essay, and I hope that day I will give you some important broad questions from this topic of studies by Francis Bacon. See you again in our next class, my dear students. Till then, goodbye. Allah Hafiz.